my name is Astar, and as you've probably seen from literally any of my videos, I love my OCs. They're like my children. I know you're not supposed to pick your favorite children, but like we obviously all do. Why are we lying to ourselves? My favorites right now are Fish and Princess! I have talked about Fish and Princess a lot on a lot of different videos, so I thought I would just make a video explaining them, their lore, and how I designed them. I'd like to start off by showing their design evolution because in my opinion, they have one of the most interesting design evolutions out of any of my OCs. For a bit of context, Fish and Princess are not the main characters of their story. They are actually side characters from my fantasy story, Wandering Adventure Society. And when I made them, I kinda just made them to be side characters for the story. Starting with Princess, I wanted her to be kind of a mentor figure to the main character Kimi, and I thought what better a mentor than a princess? Princess, who I now have named Veronica, I feel like she hasn't changed much personality-wise, but her design, boy did that change. Her original design I made in middle school, so it's a little rough. I tried my best to do the most princess in armor looking design I could, but with my limited skill set, it's not the best. But like I said, this was in middle school, so I'll give myself some grace. Her design stayed like that for a long time because I would just go long periods of time where I just didn't even think about this story in favor of my magical girls. But then in one of those times where I randomly got interested again, I decided that she needed a redesign. And at the time, I was obsessed with the Rose of Versailles. Oh my god. I genuinely had a hyperfixation on French people and French Revolution history. It was crazy. So in my redesign, I entirely based her off of Lady Oscar. And this design, I actually kind of hate. Like in her original design, she had red hair, more like red and brown color palette. But then in this, I made her bright blonde with blue eyes to be more like Lady Oscar. And it just looks a little garish, not gonna lie. And the outfit I tried to make just, I don't know. This just isn't it. I drew her only a few times with this design before ultimately deciding to change basically everything about her in her next design. But before we get to that one, I would like to jump back to Fish's original design. Fish was always meant to be paired with Princess. I designed them at the same time, and I designed them with each other in mind. Originally, Fish was a completely different character though. They were this serious, no-nonsense demon lord named Seki, who I made to be shipped with Princess. Funny enough, their original design looks pretty similar to how their final design came out, which I think is kind of a funny coincidence, considering how much I changed about them. One thing I do still really like from this design and would like to give another character is that they had little jingly gold bits connected to their horns that would kind of like jingle around and sway when they walked or moved. And I just think that's fun. I'm gonna steal that for something else. I drew their first design here and there, but then when I was redesigning them, they kind of split into two characters, Seki and Isra. Isra definitely resembles the Fish of today a lot more, and Seki turned into her own character later down the line. But now our new basis for current Fish is this pirate character, Isra. I'm not gonna lie, I do not know where I got that name from. I think I just made it up. Like, if it is a real name, I did it, let's go, but I think I was just making stuff up, not gonna lie. But this design is important because this is when Fish became a pirate. They had this pirate demon design for a really long time actually, and honestly, the outfit itself is pretty similar to current Fish too. I feel like her outfit design is pretty linear now that I'm looking at them side to side. But then something just clicked in my brain. I was in math one day, and I was scribbling in my math notebook, like one does. That math notebook actually low-key just turned into a sketchbook. Guys, wait, should I do a math notebook sketchbook tour? Because actually, I drew so much in that thing in my sophomore year of high school. But for one of those drawings, there's a doodle where I turned Fish into a fish. I'm pretty sure when I drew this, it was around the time when I was actually thinking about Wandering Adventure Society again seriously and redesigning all the characters. And something that I wanted to keep in mind when I was redesigning the characters was that this was a fantasy world. And up until this point, most of my characters were human or just humanoid, and I was like, if this is a fantasy world where all these fantasy creatures exist, why are you guys all like normal people? Why can I find all of you like in an office job? This is crazy. So I started trying to push my characters to be a little less human just for fun. And that is how we now have fish. Their early designs were a lot more sea monster kinda. They were blue and green. And that leads us to where two paths cross again. Sometime probably in my like sophomore year of high school, I drew this image of Fish and Princess. Like I mentioned, since the start they were designed to be like partners for each other, but this image was definitely the start of me obsessing over them. A few months after I drew this, I was on a plane. This plane ride was so monumental because in this one plane ride, I redesigned Fish and Princess and made them my two most favorite designs pretty much ever. Their base designs have pretty much stayed exactly the same for 3 years. I'm like a character redesign-aholic. That is crazy for me. Now, Fish and Princess, as some of you probably know, have two adopted children, Cora and Ambrosius. They, however, do not have as interesting design stories. Something I like to do for my sketchbooks is design a character for the cover of my sketchbooks, and then that character would kind of be the mascot of that certain sketchbook. I kind of stopped doing that in favor of just drawing a character on the cover that would be the mascot that I already had, but Cora was actually originally designed as one of these sketchbook mascots. But around the time when I was redesigning Fish to make them actually look like a fish, I remembered about her, and I remember how much I actually love her design and think she's so cute, so I decided to stick her in the story as Fish's deckhand. And then I gave her a little redesign just so she'd fit the story a little more, and now we have Cora! She's so cutie pie, I love her so much. Ambrosius is actually a character that I thought of for this story. I thought, well, since Fish gets a little guy, Princess is also gonna get a little guy because, I say so, and I want it. So I thought up their lore before making their design. So when it came to actually designing him, I already had a very clear idea of what I wanted. And I also kind of had design on easy mode for his outfit because his outfit is just like, is supposed to be a slightly less cool version of Princess's outfit because he's also a royal guard. So his design came together pretty easily. And since I drew all of these images, they really have not changed. The most that's changed is maybe a few color shifts or simplifications, but that's pretty much it. And now they're my favorite characters to draw just because of how fun they are. But I've spent all this time talking about their designs, let's talk about their lore. Like I said before, they are side characters for my main characters, but it's kind of one of those situations where you design side characters and then you love them so much that they get more lore than the main characters. That happens to me a lot, and that definitely happened to them. Starting off with Fish, Fish is one of the fiercest pirate captains on the seas. Fish is a fish person. In this universe, there are 4 kinds of elemental beings. Fish people, bird people, lizard people, and like, I don't really know what to call them yet, but it's like deer, horses, goats, like whatever kind of animal that is, people. Fish people live in the Great Sea, the bird people live on the Great Islands in the sky, the lizard people live in the Great Underground Caverns, and the deer, horse, goat people live in the Great Forest. Fish lived their early life in the Great Sea, and their mother was a very successful businesswoman who used her ships to sail around the world, trading and selling merchandise. Fish's mom had a pretty big empire to her name, and she was major competition for a lot of other businesses. And because of that, one day, she was assassinated. Fish doesn't know who did it, but she knows that someone from the rival company did it. And the largest trading and selling company in this world. That doesn't sound explained very well, but it's basically Walmart versus super successful small business if Walmart just like killed the business owner. And now Fish is using her mother's ship to find every associate of this company and either get information out of them or kill them. So their main goal in the story is to fight big business and overthrow capitalism. Originally her crew was just her and maybe one other person, but eventually in her adventures she just acquired more and more people who wanted to join her cause. And a lot of these people she's met from the various times that she's been thrown in jail. One of these people being Cora. See, Cora is not what she seems. Looking at her, you'd assume maybe she's just another fish person. Maybe she's half fish person from her natural skin tone. But Korra is actually an eldritch being who's been living in the depths of the sea for millions of years. She's been down there for so long, supposedly protecting the depths, but she honestly doesn't even know what she's protecting in the first place. And one day she just realizes there's actually no one keeping her there. Boredom and curiosity get the better of her, and she finally decides to go to the surface. But since she's a massive eldritch being, when she surfaces, she ends up accidentally breaking a lot of stuff. She realizes very fast that her form is just not fit for this world, so she uses her cosmic power to transform into something a little more convenient. She can still shift between these forms. I just think she'd prefer to look more human, just because she likes making friends, and it's just a little harder to make friends when you're a 1,000-foot-tall squid. Thankfully, the town that she surfaced at was pretty accepting of her, and they said that she could stay as long as she wanted, as long as she helped repair the damages she caused when she originally surfaced. That leads to her working at this boardwalk cafe, since it was probably the most affected by her original surface. But one day, a newer coworker entered who didn't know about Korra's true form, and probably just saw Korra spawn a tentacle to use to grab something from the other side of the room, and that coworker got freaked out. She immediately told the royal guard that there was a dangerous monster in the town, and when the guards arrived, they were originally going to arrest Korra and the restaurant's owner. Korra for being a monster and the restaurant owner for never reporting anything. But then Korra pulled a stunt, and since nobody really knows the full scope of her power, pretended like she had been brainwashing the owner of the restaurant just so he wouldn't get in trouble. I'd like to think that Korra actually can brainwash people if she wanted to. She just doesn't want to, so we don't really have to worry about that. But then she got thrown in jail for probably about a week until Fish showed up in that very same jail and busted them both out. And since then, Korra has been Fish's loyal deckhand and adopted daughter. I love them so much. They're literally such cutie pies. As for Princess, she's obviously a princess. Princess was always meant to take over the throne one day, but she actually has a little sister named Pommeline, and Princess loves her little sister. Pommeline isn't really very interested in the political side of ruling. She just more likes the public appearances, the parties, the fancy stuff, and that is something that makes Princess extremely bored and makes her want to rip her hair out. So they decided that once it was their time, they would rule together, where Princess would deal with the more political side of ruling, and Pommeline would deal with the more social aspects. Since both their parents are still alive, neither of them have the need to ascend to the throne yet, so in the meantime, Princess has also become captain of the Royal Guard. She's very skilled at her position, and she knows that one day she will have to leave this position behind when she needs to become queen, so she is enjoying it while she can. She loves going on missions and exploring the world, because she knows that one day she's gonna have a lot more responsibility and she won't be able to enjoy this much freedom. One such mission that she went on was actually a request for a very high difficulty bounty. The bounty was for a vampire who was terrorizing this village, but when Princess pulled up, the vampire in question was Ambrosius, this scrawny little teenager who is just tweaking the hell out. See, Ambrosius is a very freshly turned vampire. I assume he's probably turned out of spite, so whoever turned him and left without telling him how to deal with anything, which left him not being able to control his blood cravings and kind of just going crazy. Princess saw this and took pity on him, seeing how young he was, and decided to take him under her wing to try and see if she can turn his life around. She kind of just locked him up in a prison for a bit and let him thrash around until he calmed down, and then they made a deal that she would help Ambrosius learn to deal with his new circumstances if Ambrosius worked under her as her apprentice. And Princess's plan worked. After a lot of work and training, Ambrosius was able to basically fully reintegrate back into normal society, and now they're both just living their lives. How Princess and Fish met, however, is a bit of a goofy story. So Fish, obviously, they go to jail a lot. They have gotten really, really good at either avoiding going to jail or if they do go to jail, just getting out of there quickly. So they are wanted in many cities. So I think Princess would probably be aware of them just because they've seen their wanted poster everywhere. And one day, Fish just so happened to pull up to Princess's city, the one where her castle is in, and the one where she spends a good amount of her time. Fish and Princess just both happen to be at the same bar at the same time, and Princess doesn't recognize Pirate at first, but maybe after a few bottles of wine and a little bit of flirting, she realizes, oh my god, this is literally the guy that's on all of these wanted posters! So in seeing this, she immediately tries to arrest Fish, but as I mentioned, Fish is no stranger to almost getting arrested. But since Fish is a little tipsy, they don't do the normal thing and just run away. They chloroform Princess and drag her to her boat. You see, the thing is, one of Princess's uncles, maybe a duke of some sort, was actually Fish's next target. So Fish assumed if she could just take Princess and use her for ransom, she could either get information or at least a large sum of money out of her uncle. So when Princess comes to on this random ass boat with this criminal, she's very obviously freaked out, but after a lot of miscommunication and a lot of screaming, she eventually realizes that the only reason why Fish kidnapped her was to get to her uncle. And the thing about Princess's uncle is that he is a slime ball. Princess hates this guy. She does not care that Fish wants to take all his money. So Princess agrees to this ransom plot. This definitely paints Princess as kind of irresponsible that she'd like let her uncle like get slimed. But this would be strategic for her too, because she has a feeling that her uncle is trying to overthrow her parents. So this would also be in Princess's best interest too. So they come up with the agreement, the kind of faked ransom takes place, and Princess's slimeball uncle gives up information and money. Princess's slimeball uncle originally doesn't care and does not want to give the money, but then he gets pressured into it by the king because the king wants his daughter back. So the money and information is exchanged, Princess returns, and Fish leaves, but not without saying goodbye to her first. I assume she probably just sneaks into her castle for the night, but the thing is, Fish in the end is still a criminal, so before leaving the castle, she steals a solid amount of money and artifacts, and then just dips. This obviously does not bode well for Fish, and now Princess is mad. They are angry. And Fish probably assumes like, oh, they were nice, but I'm probably never gonna see them again, and then just dips. But boy, do they see each other again. After their situation, Princess does not let this go, and decides to make it her personal mission to hunt down Fish. And they meet a lot of other times. And in some of those other times, they kiss. Whoa! Anyway, that's like the basic synopsis of their lore. I love them so much. As you probably saw for the chorus sections, I even started making a comic about their kind of like backstories with their adopted children, and I would love to continue making that comic, so that might be a video idea in the future where I just finish that. But yeah, I love them. I expect to see more art of them forever because I love them so much. And I hope you love them too and you enjoyed hearing a little bit more about them. Before I go, I do want to say thank you all so much for 10K. Oh my god. Oh my god, guys. This is like literally so awesome, dream come true. This is so, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody. Like I said in my sketchbook tour, because we made it to 10K, I will be making a sketchbook tour of my middle school sketchbook. That will be coming in 2026, and I hope you guys are excited for that. And I also opened up commissions. I opened up commissions on Vgen. My account is Neonarcadestars on there too, so if y'all would like to support me so I can keep making more awesome videos, that would be awesome. But for now, that is all for me. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye bye.